Hello and welcome everyone to this YouTube channel. My name is Shivam and today in this video we will understand how we can create a SQL Server trigger to check if values has changed. So we will start off this video tutorial by discussing three different methods through which we can create a trigger and check if a value has changed from a table or not. So in this video tutorial, we will understand how we can use the update function for this task. Then we will understand how we can use the columns updated function. And in the last, we will discuss how we can use the inserted and deleted magic tables for this particular task of checking if a value has changed. Now, before we jump to the very first topic, I would like to tell you that we bring such tutorials on regular basis. So if you are interested and you really like our videos, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel for more tutorials like this. Now let's jump to the very first topic and let's understand how we can create a trigger to check if value has changed using the update function. Basically, the update function in SQL Server is utilized to return a boolean value as a result. Now this boolean value indicates if a insert or an update operation is performed on a particular column of that SQL Server table. Now using this function is quite easy. We just need to pass the name of the column as an argument to this update function. Now let us understand how we can use this function in our trigger and check if values change for that particular column or not. For this task, I will quickly jump to my SQL Server Management Studio and let us discuss an example. So in this, I have this database which is GeoNames. In the GeoNames database, I have one table which is countries. Now this table stores data related to different countries. So here on the screen you can see the table. So records like Austria, United States, United Kingdom is already there in this table. But there is one mistake in the table, like the alpha to code for this United States table is set to TS, and we all know the alpha to code for United States is US. In the same manner, the spelling for Canada is wrong. Here it should be CANADA. So this is the table that we are going to use for creating the trigger. Now what we will do, we will create a trigger and we will use the update function to check whichever column is being updated. Either it is the ID column, name column, or the alpha2 column. So let me quickly jump to this. So let me quickly jump to the trigger, and here you can see I have used this create trigger statement. This is the name of the trigger, and we want to create this trigger on the countries table, and we are going to create an after trigger. So I have specified the condition as after update. So whenever we perform the update operation and the update operation is been executed successfully, only then this trigger will be fired. What this trigger will do, let's check that. So here we are using the if update function. In that update function, I have passed ID as an argument. Now this ID is the ID of the country which is coming from the countries table. Now if we perform the update operation on the ID column, it will throw an error that we cannot update this column because it is a primary key column. After this, again we are using the if update statement. This time we pass the column name which represents the country name. So if country name is been updated, then it will print that update operation is performed on the name column. In the same manner we are doing for the alpha to code column, and it will return this statement that the update operation is performed on the alpha to code column. Let me quickly create this trigger. Once I click on this, here we can see the success message that command has been completed successfully, which means our trigger has been created. Now let's use the update statement to update the values and correct the table. So first we use the update statement to set the value of alpha to code to US, because here we have seen the alpha to code for United States is set to TS, which is wrong. So we are correcting it by specifying it US, and we are using the ID 2 with where clause condition. In the same manner, we are performing the update operation and we are setting the name as Canada, which is the correct spelling, and we are performing this operation on the name column, and we are using the where clause where the ID is 4. So in the table ID is 4 for this column. Now what will happen when I perform these two update operations? Once the update operation has been executed successfully, it will fire that trigger, and trigger will tell us which column has been updated. Let me click on execute, and here you can see that update operation is performed on the alpha to code column. In the very first update statement, we are updating the alpha to code column. In the same manner, for the second update statement, we got this result where the update operation is performed on the name column. So I hope with this you all understand how we can use the update function to check which column is being changed. Let's move forward and let's discuss about the second method. And in the second method, we are going to use the columns updated function. This columns updated function in SQL Server is used to determine if multiple columns in a table or a view have been added or changed. This function returns a var binary stream that we can test for various columns by using the bit mask. This columns updated function is used to return one or more than one bytes of arranged in left to right order. Moreover, each byte's least important bit is the one on the right. So what will happen? The first column of the table is represented by the rightmost bit of the leftmost byte, followed by the second column by the bit immediately to the left, and so on. Now we can quickly look at an example. Now here on the screen you can see this trigger. What we are going to do, we are going to alter the same trigger that we created in the previous example. We are creating this trigger on the update statement only. So what happened in the previous example, we were using the update function, and in this case we are going to use the columns updated function. Now as I discussed, the columns updated function will return a byte as a result, and using that byte we can check whichever column has been updated. So here this statement will check if the very first column has been updated or not. So very first column is ID. Now we cannot update ID because it is a primary key column, so it will throw an error that cannot update the primary key. In the same manner, we can use this statement to check if the update operation is performed on the second column. Now in our case the second column is name, so that's why it will print this statement that update operation is performed on name column. And in the same manner, this statement will use to check if the update operation is performed on the third column, and in our case the third column is alpha to code. Let me execute this, and here you can see the trigger has been executed successfully. To fire the trigger, we need to perform the update operation. I will quickly use the same update statements, and this time also we will get the same result that the update operation is performed on alpha to code and the update operation is performed on the name column. Let's move forward and let's discuss the third method. In the third method, we will understand how we can use the inserted and deleted magic tables. Now there is one common issue with the update and the columns updated function in SQL Server. Both functions check if the update operation is performed or not, but these functions will never rectify if an actual value is changed or not. Now if we use any of the previous examples and try to use the update statement without changing the actual value, in that case the trigger will still indicate that the column name has been updated, but actually there is no change in that table. And we have seen this in the previous example only. So in the previous example, here you can see I have created this trigger, updated the trigger, and you know, in my first example I used the same update statement. Even after performing the update, we know the actual values are modified now, and if I try to execute this, in that case also again I am getting the result. So now let us discuss how we can overcome this issue, and in this case we can use the inserted and deleted magic tables. We can use these magic tables to fetch the information related to each record that has been modified, but before that we need to create a trigger in SQL Server for record keeping. So what I will do, see, I have this table countries, and for record keeping I have another table that is countries log. Let me show you this table as well. Now let me quickly truncate this table. Now here you can see this table is now empty. So this table only consists of two columns. First one is this log ID, which is a primary key column, and the second one is the country ID. So by this country ID we will get to know which particular country record has been updated. Now here is the code for the trigger. This time we have named this trigger as trigger countries log, and we are creating this trigger on the countries table. What this trigger will do, it will fetch the updated ID. Basically what this trigger will do, it will use the inserted and deleted tables and try to find which record, which particular country ID is been updated, and it will perform an insert operation using that country ID. So for example, if I tell you, so here you can see currently all the records in this table are fine. What I will do, I will use an update statement to make change in that table. So I will do update countries set, let's say alpha to code, to again ps, where id is equal to 2. But before we perform this update operation, I will like to disable the trigger which I have created in the previous example. So I will right click this trigger and we will disable it. Now what I will do, I will create this countries log trigger, execute this. Once this thing has been done, let me quickly perform the update operation. Now here we know that we are going to perform the update for the country ID 2. Let me quickly execute this. Once I execute this, here you can see the alpha2 code for United States again become TS. Now if I query the countries log table, I will write select a string from countries log and click on execute. Here you can see I got this country ID 2 in my countries log table, and from this country ID we will get to know that this particular record has been changed. And now with this we have come to the end of this tutorial session, where we have discussed how we can create a trigger which will check whichever data has been updated from our table. And in this video we have covered 3 different methods, where we have seen the use of update functions, columns updated function, and the use of inserted and deleted magic tables. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you really like this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and also press the like button, and here are few more suggestions from our side that you can watch.